Okay, we're recording now, and we're recording at the Mangone job again, and you are looking at Rich McCoy of McCoy Electric. So, Rich, could you just tell us a little bit about you and your company, when you started and stuff like that, and how you became an electrician?
Wow. Let me think back. No. Uh, right out of high school, just started working for an electrician, and I've done it ever since, ultimately. But
Was it something you were interested in, or was it just a job that was available?
yeah, summer job. Yep. I was working. I quit my job to go
I'm going to get you
out for
this way.
sports, and then got cut from sports. Baseball team didn't make it after all, so then I was looking for a job. So I went and got a job after school with an electrician.
So, just out of curiosity, did you start by just clean up and stuff like that, or did you
No,
start
just
pulling wire?
as a helper. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you follow them around and ask questions.
Yeah. And oh, I forgot, electricians, they don't clean up after
Yeah,
themselves. What am I thinking? Picking up stuff? Nah, that's somebody else's job.
we used to warehouse in snow. So probably the beginning of the day was shoveling snow, and then getting warm, and then getting clear space, and then start.
When did you when did you think you were going to make a career out of this? How far into it?
I never knew what I wanted to do, but it's interesting. I think in a lot of careers for everybody, once you feel like you're good at something, then it's maybe more something you want to do than it is before you did it. You didn't know you were good at it. It wasn't something I dreamed about. It's just something that happened.
So you started your own company. You get a contractor's license first.
Before I started my
Yeah,
company,
yeah.
yeah, no. So I worked for people for a lot of years, and then moved here in Santa Barbara in '90s, and worked for some guys here, and then started my own company here when they retired in '92. Started my company in '92, end of '92, I guess, and then just been here ever since.
What's the bulk of your work? Is it pre-wiring new construction?
No, we really do it all. I mean, they used to say, 50-50, 20-50, whatever. I mean, it just goes in cycles. Sometimes we're doing all commercial. The next time we're doing residential commercial. I mean, our specialty is home automation, and it has been since I started. I started with a company as a helper doing houses that had automation in them, and when I
Uh-huh.
moved here to Santa Barbara, a lot of the houses had automation. We were doing automation when companies didn't do the whole thing. We had to integrate, 4 or 5 or 6 different companies to make it work. We had to kind of invent things. And now, these automation companies, a lot of them are doing the whole thing. So it's gotten simpler through the years, even though it'll do more. But
Could
it's
you
becoming easier.
explain just a little bit what is home automation?
Home automation, from your phone. I mean, people are starting to get to know it now, but back in the '90s they didn't. But from your phone or from your internet, we can open your curtain, lock your doors, turn on your TV,
Turn on
on
your
off your lights.
lights, turn on your microwave,
Right. I mean, even
your
some of the
oven.
appliances we have some now, and now even with the AV stuff, we can reboot your routers and reboot your AV equipment for the customer to cycle it without them, having to go find the breaker
So
box.
remotely, you can do that remotely. Wow, that's incredible. So if I understand it right, your business, it seems to me, you do electrical work wiring new houses, wiring remodeled houses, like standard, duplex outlets and lighting and stuff like that, as well as home animation, all the AV stuff, the TV stuff, the sound stuff, all that jazz, right? You do, I've seen your trucks do, your boom lift do like outside lighting, like
Yeah, we have
Italian lights and stuff
parking lot
like
lights. We
that,
do
parking
parking
lot
structures,
lighting.
commercial buildings. We do, parking lot maintenance. Um, or temporary power poles if we need it for job sites. We don't really push that, but we do.
Solar,
We have
solar
done some
arrays.
solar. There's so many solar contractors out there, and we've been so busy we haven't really pushed that either. But we do it, or we have done it.
Yeah, you did Ted's
Yeah.
solar array,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we won an award on that one or something at the time from the city at the time.
How many
Early on.
kW is that?
Don't remember. I don't remember. I have to
Okay,
look it up.
well, it's a nice looking
7,000
array.
maybe.
I saw it today, as a matter of fact, and was asked about it.
Yeah, so it just evolves. I mean, it's like it grows from one thing to another.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, if you're in the place to get the work and do the work, then that's where you are, and that's what you do, right?
Well, we're fortunate to be in Santa Barbara in California where people want those things and the sun's out and and they have the means to do it, and if they want it, we try to do it for them, whatever that is. Um, I have people that have left working for me and gone to other states and call me back and say, "Wow, you really set me up." They don't do any of this out here. They have no idea. I'm like king, big man on campus out here. They have no. They just aren't doing any of it. So
Big
it's really
cutting edge West
yeah,
Coast technology,
it's kind of
baby.
nice.
Now, this house, 966 Chillum Way, Mango, I can give you the address because I've filmed it more than once. But it's all new electrical. Could you briefly describe the electrical? I'll just preface with saying that the set of plans was pretty light on electrical details, to say the least. But so Rich worked with myself and the owner to put in the electrical details that needed to happen. And I initially did myself because I knew we wanted a new 200 amp panel. 100 amps was not going to cut it on this job. But just tell us a little bit about, if you would, this particular job, and how it went for you.
Um, as a lot of the remodels do, they show existing stuff that wants to remain, but the reality is, with today's stuff, you're better off just removing that, starting fresh. So we started fresh and ran everything new, completely new
We
circuits.
we had some knob and tube in here too, right?
There was some knob and
Yeah.
tube in here, and yeah, old wiring. And by the time you modify it and try to reattach back onto some old circuits, whether it's knob and tube is definitely out, but it's not worth it. So new circuits all the way through, appliance circuits the way they should be, weatherproof outlets, dedicated circuits on the outside, whether you have spas or air conditioners, Tesla outlet or car charging outlets
Right.
now, the future solar conduits to attics or roofs. They're mandated now to have two spare spaces in the panel and a conduit to the roof.
Really, where are
and
we
I think
putting
you're
that? Is that
mandated to have
are
a
we just
car
doing a stub for that? Then is that what we're doing?
So we have, empty conduit up to the roof line to where a solar contractor could come in later and put solar on. Now, I think I don't even know how it reads, but the new rules are that you have to actually put the solar on the roof.
Huh.
I think this being built when it was, we were
Yeah.
prior to that. We put
So
in
will we just have a stub up there, or will we have a box up
conduit
there?
to the attic, and then from the attic, the empty conduit.
And then he could come and make the
Yeah,
roof
he can
penetration.
extend it to wherever he wants it and make the roof penetration and waterproof it.
But that's code these days. You got to have empty conduits to the attic. And where else do you have to have? You said something that just.
The car chargers, I think they're mandating either a car charger outlet in the garage and they're mandating a solar roof.
Wow, cool. It is. It's the way we're going. So let's just see this job here. I know you've been working with the owner on lighting, and we did. I think you did. I think he did show duplex outlets. You have some code requirements that dictate that you have to have duplex outlets, and at how many or how often. Is that correct?
No more than 12 feet apart. They use kind of this 6 foot cord rule on your vacuuming. Go 6 foot either way. But it's as the wall flows, not across the room, not diagonal, whatever. It's actually as the wall goes. So every less than 12 feet apart as the wall goes. Any wall more than 2 foot wide needs an outlet on it, which is.
Wow, really?
I don't know if that's new, but it's newly enforced. They're getting a little more strict about that. So sometimes you end up with a lot of outlets on small walls that you wouldn't normally put an outlet.
Yeah. But code says if it's over 2 foot wide, you got to have an outlet on it.
Yeah. Now hallways, I think you can one for a hallway, so hallways don't necessarily count, and sometimes they count behind doors as not counting as your wall space because the door swings there. Yeah, and a lot of people don't want outlets. We just don't want. I mean, we get designers don't want outlets anywhere on the house, and
Yeah.
they take them out. But the building department requires them to put them in. You have to have at least one above the counter in the bathrooms, above counter outlets. So we used to have designers who would like to put them down below the counter, so they wouldn't see them. They want to see them, but the code says it needs to be above the counter.
Closets too have to have lighting too, don't they? Isn't that mandated by code?
You know, that's good. I don't think so.
Closet light.
We don't put light in every closet. We have people that want them, and we do put it in a lot of closets, and there's rules about where they can be in the closets, but we don't put them in every closet.
Where and what too, so they can't have any fixtures that generate a bunch of heat and
Right.
stuff
They
like
used
that
to
too,
have
right?
to be out 12 inches out in front of the shelf, which I still do, and they used to all be heat and, light bulbs and worry about fires and people stuff on the top shelf, but.
And besides electrical, I mean, electrical being the 110 that comes from, I'm probably going to get the sun on your face, or 220, I take it, that comes from the pole in this case down a wire, not underground, which it would be in some cases in conduit, to a masthead, and then down into the box, 200 amp box, which powers up duplex outlets for anything you might plug in. All your plug-in electrical stuff like refrigerators and appliances that stay plugged in. But besides all that electrical requirement and switch legs, the AV stuff has got to be, AV and data, especially data, has got to be a pretty big part of your of the job these days. I mean, everybody wants data, right?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be almost more because we had to run wires. We run future-proof cables. Now that Wi-Fi's really gotten really good, we can do a lot of stuff wireless. But the reality is, if we can get a wire there, we try to anyways because it's a better service. But yeah, TVs, all the TVs are run on network. I mean, cables kind of go into streaming, so that's happening, and phones and iPads, and everybody's streaming everything in the house. So. The old wires just didn't cut it.
Nope. And this blue, this is all data here, right?
This is all.
Typical cat. Is it Cat 5 or Cat?
Yeah, Cat 6.
Cat 6 now, yeah.
Cat 5e and Cat 6, and they'll have a rack on the wall with the internet switch and modem, and probably even their cable box.
And that'll be that box?
It's actually going to be, on a hinged rack up here.
Wow.
This is just the utility company coming in, a place for them to disconnect.
Disconnect. So there's the back of our 200 amp new panel with all the Romex and cabling pretty much done. And look at these really cool. I love these. What do you call them?
Home run helpers or
home run helpers. Look at that. And they're all the way. I noticed they're all the way through the attic. You can see one up in there to just keep the wires routed in the right direction and keep them separate from each other, right?
Yeah, so you're not allowed to have more than 8 current carrying conductors in a hole anymore. I used to jam them all in one hole into the panel, but for heat, they can't travel very far together. I think you can get them together for a short distance, but
no more than 8 in any hole.
Current carrying conductors, so that's really only 3 of the yellow wires, potentially. So if you see more than 3 wires through a drill hole, they'll make you pull them out. Now, and that's not the way we did it for years and years. So.
Well, what about? Keyless fixtures. Anything about this job in particular? Well, look, there's Adrian. Adrian works for McCoy1. Yeah.
6.
Good.
It's.
I don't want you to open that light, if you wouldn't mind. Wow, that's a beautiful. Now that's a pretty standard 200 amp panel, right?
Yes.
Meter socket.
So it's reversed in the fact that the meter's at the bottom. Square D's made this new one that puts a meter at the bottom and changes the height of this stuff. But
and it's the meters at the bottom because it would be a bit hard to read.
Right, and the main breaker's down here, so your main shutoff's low, and then that's high. It gives more room space to get out. But you can also come out of it later on the surface. It leaves the ability to do that.
Cool. And what the heck else was I going to say about that meter panel? This is a smart meter too, right?
This is a smart meter. Yes.
Yeah. So they don't have to come and read that. They read that remotely.
Right, and I think I don't know if everybody knows it, but I think you can log into your smart meter, I think, with your bill and look at your usage or your highest point of use at any one time. You can see, I've only drawn 110 amps at it. It might not be in amps; it'd be under kilowatt hours, but kilowatts.
But you can see that. You can
But you
plug
can see
in.
that online if you log
cool.
in your stuff, and not all of them do, but you can have it turned on so you can.
Yeah, Edison. What a company, man. I swear. So let's walk through. Let's go in and walk through and just
get in there.
if there's anything you can tell us about the electrical in here that's unique or just something that catches your eye?
I don't know if anything you need.
So one thing you don't see is you don't see any ceiling in here, right? So since there's no ceiling, there's no, what you might see in here, which is recessed cans, which we're so used to seeing in a variety of shapes and sizes and configurations, and there won't be anything here. Our owner does not like recessed cans. So she's gonna have some kind of a track system, is that what we've decided?
Yeah, so they're gonna
And
do
we
a
haven't-
a dual circuit track on the side of the trusses. I don't know if they can hear it. Running, I believe on the side of these trusses with some energy efficient LED, high efficiency lighting aiming up and down. So you'll get an up light with a glow, and then you'll have some task lighting aiming down on the kitchen counters and around. It's a unique.
So there's nothing to stub for us for roughs. Those Romex stubs there are what we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Coming out
They'll hit
underneath.
the end of your track, and then the tracks are gonna come along the trusses and hopefully blend in, maybe paint in whatever in the
Yeah.
height as well as we can.
Alongside. I think at this point, we're talking about taking off, we're gonna clean these guys up prior to paint, but we're gonna take out these plywood gussets and replace them with some solid gussets with, it'll look a little cleaner. But this is the look in here, but at least see, so, what about, all this is wrong. I was asked, the other day about Romex, the difference between the yellow and the white Romex.
So the yellow Romex, they started